After the heart stopped beating and the left eye burst into flames, the young man woke up from the realm of death. Xia Yan was startled to realize that he had returned to 3 days before the apocalypse, and today was July 1st, 2028. Looking into the mirror, he could not believe that he had come back to life once more. His right eye had also turned golden, which seemed to be the remaining flame in his eye from when he was burned before. Grabbing a jacket to put on, the young man immediately went outside. Who could have thought that 3 days later everything would be destroyed? When the apocalypse arrived, a large number of humans turned into zombies, and strange deities appeared. Although among humans there were also those with supernatural powers, they were simply unable to resist in time. Cities turned into hell, humans turned into devils, and they fought each other for resources in order to survive. Xia Yan's girlfriend, Yalan, and his best friend, Shijun, had betrayed him without the slightest hesitation. Just as the saying goes, speak of Chow Chow and Chow Chow appears. A phone call came from Yalan. Xia Yan had barely picked up when he heard her voice full of complaint. Why did you answer so slowly? Do you want to break up? The young man was already too tired of this scene. Whenever she was displeased, she would threaten with breaking up. In the past, Xia Yan would be frightened and try to coax her. But now it was different. Xia Yan made a cool move, hitting her straight in the face with his words. Fine then, let's break the damn thing off. I'm tired, I don't want to serve you anymore, goodbye. Xia Yan decisively put the phone back into his pocket. In this quiet moment, he had to seize the time. First, he would go take care of the important matter. On the other side, Yalan was in bed with Shijun. After hanging up the phone, she angrily tossed it aside. Who the hell does he think he is, hanging up on me? Could it be that he's found out about us? Yalan hesitated, convinced that such a thing was impossible. That fool follows me around every single day. If I tell him to go east, he wouldn't dare go west. How could he possibly find out about you and me? Shijun put on a comforting act, his face oozing shamelessness. Come on now, don't be mad. Just now, my old man texted me, telling me to gather some family heirloom antiques imbued with spiritual energy. He says something big might be about to happen. Yalan froze for a moment, then wrapped her arms around him. Antiques? I remember Xia Yan has a family heirloom token, ugly-looking thing. But I think it's a few 100 years old. Shijun's face lit up as he asked where it was, and Yalan eagerly replied, right now, it's with Xia Yun, Xia Yan's younger sister. Xia Yan's acting like a lunatic at the moment. Once he calms down, he'll come crawling back to me. When that happens, I'll just tell him to hand the token over. And with that, the two of them went right back to their business. Elsewhere, Xia Yan had gone to find his younger sister to ask about the ancient token. Xia Yun, looking bright and cheerful, greeted him with a smile. Why do you suddenly need this? You even took a bus for 30 kilometers to come here. Aren't you working today? Seeing the strange look in Xia Yan's eyes, Xia Yun became concerned. But the young man only asked, his face tense, do you trust me? With her bright, shining eyes, Xia Yun answered without hesitation, of course, we've relied on each other all this time. I trust you completely and without conditions. Whatever you do, it's always for my own good. He patted her head gently and told her, then go back to school, pack your things, and come home with me immediately. Without a trace of doubt, Xia Yun agreed and promised to meet him again in 2 hours. Watching his sister skip away, Xia Yan steeled his resolve. This time, he would protect her no matter what. He would make sure she survived unharmed. The moment he held the token in his hand, he sensed that something about it was different from before. When his left eye narrowed, flames suddenly burst forth straight onto the token. As the token ignited, it pulled him inside. Before Xia Yan stood a towering structure bound with countless heavy chains. This was the Great Nian District, home to fearsome beasts and demons. Each one exuded a terrifying aura and an unfathomable sense of mystery. Suddenly, countless dazzling bolts of lightning struck deep into the Great Nian District, targeting the monsters within. To be exact, this was heavenly lightning, divine thunder meant to suppress the creatures. While Xia Yan was still in shock, a figure appeared before him. It was a woman. Smiling wickedly, frightened already? Puzzled by her identity, Xia Yan was about to ask, but she introduced herself first. I am Su Jie, greetings. To the king of Xiongyu. tens of thousands of years ago, Xiandi summoned the 12 Shang Xian, Tai Bai, Tai Shang San Qing, Guanyin, Fu Shi, and Xian Envi, to work together in forging the Zhenmo Ta, also known as the Deshionyu. Over the ages, countless ferocious beasts and criminal gods who had committed heinous crimes were imprisoned within it, forced to suffer day after day, their souls burned by heavenly thunder. The Deshionyu token now in Xia Yan's hand was the only key capable of unlocking its gates. The young man blinked in confusion. So that's why you called me the master of Xiongyu? Immediately, Su Jie switched to an inviting tone. My lord, would you like to go inside and see your prisoners? As we look around, this humble servant can report their situations to you in detail. What do you say? Once the young man agreed, the two began moving forward. But something blocked their way. Without hesitation, Xia Yan's left eye activated again, unleashing a surge of fiery power that burned away every barrier. Witnessing this, Su Jie couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. As expected, truly formidable. As the prison master, you indeed carry the Yuming fire in your eye. That's why you were able to reopen Yuming and come back to life, isn't it? Xia Yan suddenly realized that this woman was the very same voice that had spoken by his ear in his previous life. At that moment, Su Jie shyly admitted, this humble servant has deep ties with the Xia family. As the spirit guide of the Deshionyu, of course I couldn't bear to see you fall victim to other schemes. The despair and fury you felt before your death in your previous life awakened your ability and ignited the Yuming fire. I merely acted in accordance with the flow of events. Looking at the flames blazing in his hand, Xia Yan finally understood. So that's why I came back to life, now that the apocalypse has arrived. I've awakened my ability. This time, things will be different. With a cool air, Xia Yan asked Su Jie to lead the way. Obedient as a puppy, she replied, the Deshionyu is divided into 5 levels. With the prison master's current soul power, the number of Xiongyu gates you can light determines the limit of where you can go. The higher you ascend, the stronger the imprisoned creatures. Your soul power must increase before you can even see them. At present, only this area is lit. Xia Yan looked at the beast imprisoned before him and was stunned. This is the same ferocious beast that Song Shijun rode in my previous life? Before he could react, the creature opened its massive jaws in a show of intimidation, as if ready to swallow him whole. Its eyes glowed a blood-red hue. But after taking a closer look at Xia Yan, the beast quickly switched to flattery. Oh my, so this is the new prison master. Young and promising indeed. It's been thousands of years, and at last, we've awaited your arrival. If there's anything you need, just say the word, gur. Even Su Jie was caught off guard by how fast the black bear flipped its attitude. You again, black bear. Do you have no shame, groveling like this in front of the prison master? The bear just kept smacking its lips and muttering, while Xia Yan stood frozen, feeling utterly nauseated. In another cell, there was a monstrous red-feathered eagle whose eyes brimmed with disdain. We're all millennial demon kings, and after being locked up for a while, you lot turn into lapdogs. What's so special about the prison warden anyway? He's just relying on that command token. If you want me to submit, then even if heavenly thunder strikes me for 1,000 years, I still won't give a damn. Xia Yan was once again at a loss for words. First it was Su Jie, then the bear spirit. Every creature connected to this prison was a legendary monster. Standing before the giant eagle's cage, Xia Yan felt a spark of recognition. Could this guy be Lei Zhenzi? Su Jie covered her mouth and laughed excitedly. As expected of the prison warden, you only needed a glance to recognize him. In this world, monsters were ranked by tier: pawn, soldier, general, marshal, king, and saint. At present, the prison warden was on the lowest floor of the Zhenmo Ta, where criminals of the general rank were kept. The higher you went up the tower, the stronger the imprisoned creatures became. It was even said that the very top floor housed saint-level divine criminals. Su Jie had once heard Lady Envy herself sigh that beings of god tier had also existed in this world, only to be destroyed by the passage of time. She hoped the prison warden would work hard, ascend quickly, and one day take control of the entire prison. Hearing this, Xia Yan realized the tower was far more terrifying than he had imagined. If even the weakest general-level beasts at the bottom were this powerful, It was hard to fathom what kind of beings were locked away at the very top, but despite his words, the young man's thoughts were quite different, full of ambition. It doesn't matter who they are. In the future they will all become my strength. In this era, I must keep getting stronger. Su Jia smiled brightly and continued. With your current soul power, Warden, you can only reach this part of the prison. You'll need to absorb more soul power, turn it into strength, light up more cells, and move to higher floors. Soul power and supernatural abilities were not the same. Supernatural powers required absorbing life force and spirit stones, while soul power could only be obtained by slaying divine beings. 3 days from now, the celestial gods would appear. That would be Xia Yan's time to hunt. For now, the priority was to prepare thoroughly. This place was the courtyard of the antique street school. In his previous life, someone had accidentally bought an immortal binding rope here and, from that moment on, became a powerful ability user. Xia Yan was trying to dig through his memories. If he remembered correctly, that treasure should still be here. None of the energy emitted from these antiques could escape the detection of his Yuming flame. The man was Song Tian, head of the Song family, Song Jia, and father of Song Shujun. Walking beside him was Huang Lao, an expert in antique appraisal. At just a glance from behind, Song Tian recognized him. Isn't that Xia Yan? Why is he here? He began recalling what he had once told his son, Shujun. The friends you choose must all bring you benefit, understand? His son had replied confidently, Don't worry, father, Xia Yan is just a fool who values loyalty too much, easy to deceive. Noticing Song Tian's sudden change of expression, the antique expert Huang Lao asked in curiosity, What's wrong, Mr. Song? Song Tian brushed it off. It's nothing, just an acquaintance. Huang Lao, let's go look for the antiques first. I'll be relying entirely on your eye for this. Haha, rest assured, Mr. Song. This old man's only skill is in this field. Unfortunately, most of these are just handicrafts and decorative pieces. A few days earlier, after making offerings to the ancestors at the family shrine, Song Tian had repeatedly dreamed of them, urging him to seek out antiques and other rare items. Better to believe than to ignore it, he thought. Today, he had specially invited Huang Lao to do the appraisals. Success was a must. As they were walking, Huang Lao suddenly froze, then his face lit up with excitement when his eyes fell on a gourd flask. The old man hurried over. Here it is. But then Huang Lao's expression turned slightly bewildered. Someone had beaten him to it. It was Xia Yan, already negotiating. Boss, how much for this? The shop owner was secretly overjoyed. Thinking another clueless sucker had walked in, he started boasting. This gourd is from the Ming dynasty. At least worth this much, 10,000 yuan. Knowing full well he was being gouged, Xia Yan countered bluntly, 10,000? That's far too expensive. Is this the only one you've got? Look here, there's a crack, and you've even used a frayed string to cover it up. If you asked me, this is just a piece of handicraft work, worth maybe 100 yuan at most. Exposed and realizing this fish wouldn't be easy to reel in, the shop owner waved him off like shooing away bad luck. 100 yuan. Get out, don't waste my time doing business. Xia Yan, having already taken the red cord he wanted, simply left. After all, that was his true goal from the start. Now, Song Tian and Huang Lao finally had a chance to make their move. Boss, let us take a look. Please, take your time, the shop owner said with a smile. Who could have guessed that this small, inconspicuous red cord was actually an immortal binding treasure rope? For Xia Yan, there was nothing left to do but watch the two put on their little show. In his previous life, Xia Yan had been captured by Song Tian's entire family. Not only had they stolen his command token, but they had also used the blood of a certain girl for a sacrificial ritual. This time, he would never let them off so easily. On Huang Lao's side, after carefully examining the gourd, he nodded repeatedly. There's a faint spiritual aura lingering on this gourd. It's been around for a long time. Song Tian was just about to ask the shop owner about the gourd when Xia Yan suddenly greeted him from behind. Uncle Song? So it was you. No wonder you looked familiar earlier. You're here at the antique street as well? Song Tian, feigning surprise, replied Xia Yan. I didn't expect you to be interested in antiques. Oh, right? Shujun mentioned your family had an antique item. I'd like to talk to you about it later. Then, out of nowhere, Xia Yan decided to play dirty. Raising his voice so everyone could hear, he called out dramatically, Uncle Song, your family's so wealthy. Why would you specifically buy this gourd? Don't tell me it's actually something extremely valuable? His shout instantly drew the attention of the crowd. Isn't that Huang Lao, the renowned antique appraiser? Even he's inspecting it? Looks like this is the real deal. This gourd must be worth a fortune. The bidding frenzy began. Boss, didn't you say it's 10,000? I'll pay 12,000. I'll give 20,000. The shop owner was practically dizzy with joy, while Song Tian was about to explode. Shut up, all of you. I was here first. Stop driving the price up. But the greedy shop owner declared bluntly, highest bidder gets it. After a fierce round of bidding, Song Tian ended up paying a staggering 170,000. He cast a venomous glare at Xia Yan, who was stretching lazily and humming a tune, utterly relaxed. Damn it! I could have gotten this for 10,000, but because of that brat, I bled an extra fortune. Just then, Xia Yan turned around with an innocent look. Uncle Song, didn't you say you were curious about my family's antique? Song Tian answered without hesitation. Yes, I heard from Shijun that your family has an heirloom command token. Could you let me see it? Xia Yan smiled as if it were nothing. Of course, this is a real treasure. The moment Huang Lao laid eyes on the token, his gaze lit up. He asked to hold it, but after letting the two of them admire it from a distance, Xia Yan flatly refused. Of course not. This is my family's heirloom. How could I just let you people handle it so easily? Song Tian, recalling what his son had told him about Xia Yan's personality, decided to soften his tone. Xia Yan, you and Shijun are so close. Just let me take a quick look. But Xia Yan's reply was like a bucket of ice water. Shijun? Sorry, I don't know him. If there's nothing else, I'll be on my way. Song Tian grew flustered, scrambling for a way to get a look at the token. Hey, wait. What will it take for you to let us see it? Xia Yan cut straight to the chase. Money, 1 minute for 10,000, transfer 50,000, and you can look for 5 minutes. Song Tian could hardly believe his ears. Xia Yan, of all people, was extorting him like this? His expression darkened. Are you serious? To further stoke their curiosity, Xia Yan added with a smirk, if you don't transfer the money, I'm leaving. Song Tian swallowed his rage and forced out, fine, I'll transfer it. Once the transfer went through, Xia Yan casually tossed the token to Huang Lao. Sure enough, Song Tian had actually sent the money. With the payment secured, Xia Yan's mind was already leaping ahead. First, stock up on water, then food. Dishyongyu has plenty of empty prison cells, perfect for stashing supplies. Sujia piped up eagerly. Warden, anything you put in here will stay perfectly preserved, even live animals. This servant wants chicken. Xia Yan started jotting down a ridiculous shopping list, piling on items like there was no tomorrow. To anyone else, it looked less like stocking up and more like preparing to open a farm. But before long, his phone chimed. Insufficient balance. TCH. Money really doesn't stick around long, he muttered. He strolled right back to Song Tian. Finished looking? Your 5 minutes are up. Want to buy more time? Song Tian didn't bother with pleasantries. Xia Yan, would you consider selling me this token? Xia Yan nodded readily. Of course, 10 million. The excitement on Song Tian's face froze. 10 million? Seeing their shocked expressions, Xia Yan snatched the token back. What's wrong, Uncle Song? This token has been passed down for over 1,000 years. It's a genuine antique. 10 million is hardly expensive. If you don't want it, I'll be on my way. Xia Yan had barely walked a few steps when Huang Lao spoke up on his behalf. Mr. Song, that token is indeed a valuable antique. At least worth 500,000. He's asking for the moon, yes. But we could try bargaining. I think we could get it for 100,000 at most. Song Tian's face darkened. You can go back now, he said flatly. The moment Huang Lao left, he pulled out his phone and called his son, Shijun. Take a few people from the clan and move out immediately. Find Xia Yan and his sister. Bring both the token and the two of them back here. Grinding his teeth, he spat. That brat dares to make a fool out of me. The ancestors have already appeared in my dreams. Besides finding the relic, they demand fresh maiden's blood for the ritual. I was still hesitating before But Xia Yan, you've just signed your own death warrant. At that very moment, Xia Yan felt a wave of malicious intent lock onto him. Heh? So they're really planning to make a move on me? Good, I was worried you wouldn't dare. Pity I didn't manage to squeeze more money out of you. But no matter, every debt will be collected, one coin at a time. Immediately after that, Xia Yan went to find his younger sister, and the two headed home together. At that very moment, Xia Yan's homeroom teacher came hurrying out. She was Bai Shirin, Xia Yan's class advisor. Seeing her panting for breath, Xia Yun didn't forget to ask with concern, "Ms. Bai, why are you here?" The teacher replied, with a hint of reproach, "You're still asking me? Xiao Yun, why did you suddenly leave school? Do you realize that tomorrow there's a very important exam that could affect your future?" Xia Yun stepped in to speak on his sister's behalf. "Ms. Bai, I'm the one who brought Xiao Yun home. I'm very sorry. But she needs to take a temporary break from school. You're her older brother? Xiao Yun is the top student in our class. I heard your parents passed away and that you've been raising her yourself. At first, I thought her brother must be a very responsible person, but I didn't expect you to be so rash. I am Bai Shirin, Xiao Yun's homeroom teacher. I do not agree with you letting her leave school. She has a bright future ahead of her, and it shouldn't be thrown away like this." Xia Yan stepped in to speak for his younger sister, Ms. Bai. "I was the one who brought Xiao Yun home. I'm sorry, but she needs to take a temporary break from school. You're her older brother? Xiao Yun is the top student in our class. I heard that your parents passed away, and you've been raising her yourself. At first, I thought her brother must be a very dependable person, but I didn't expect you to be so careless. I am Bai Shirin, Xiao Yun's homeroom teacher. I do not agree with you letting her drop out of school. She has a bright future ahead of her and shouldn't miss this opportunity." Xia Yan tried to ease the tension. "It's not as serious as you think. We just have some things to deal with at home." The teacher still looked upset and unconvinced. What could be so important? Unless the earth is about to explode, studies shouldn't stop. In short, a student must. Xia Yan suddenly stepped closer and lightly touched her shoulder, causing her face to flush red. "All right, Ms. Bai, thank you, you really are a good teacher, so, as a token of my gratitude, let me give you some advice. When you get home, try to stock up on as much food, water, medicine, and weapons as you can. Most importantly, prepare as many Shangqing pills as possible. They can help you survive the hard times." Bai Shirin, "You? What on earth are you talking about? Stocking up on supplies? You make it sound like the earth really is about to explode." Sigh. "I just hope Xiao Yun will be alright." This was Xia Yan's home. His sister seemed to sense that something big was about to happen, which was why he was being so serious. Xia Yan didn't hide anything from her and even promised that he would protect her no matter what. Then, he put a token around her neck. "Keep this with you. I'm going out for a bit. No matter who comes, don't open the door." Xiao Yun immediately nodded. "All right. I'll start cooking then. Make sure you come back early for dinner." In fact, as long as the token was on Xiao Yun, Xia Yan would be able to sense her condition. Now, the first thing he needed to do was to go make some money. Just as the elevator reached the first floor and Xia Yan stepped out, Yalan was on the phone with Shijun, plotting their next move. "What? Xiao Yun isn't at school? Then head to Xia Yan's place first. You can't escape the sun forever." On the other end, Shijun replied, "Got it, you just keep him there. We'll be right over." With an air of flirtatious confidence and a sexy demeanor, Yalan approached, smiling brightly. "Xia Yan, did you miss me? Shijun said he wants to take you out for a late-night meal. He'll be coming by soon." Xia Yan didn't even bother to respond. Instead, he looked at her with utter disdain and brushed her aside. Yalan, clearly taken aback, quickly spoke up. "Hey Xia Yan, what's that supposed to mean? You're not seriously breaking up with me, are you? Don't be petty. I know you're just jealous. Look, I even came to find you." But Xia Yan's reply was nothing short of devastating. "Sorry, just the thought that I was once your boyfriend makes me feel sick. Do me a favor and stay far away from me." It was the first time she had ever been rejected so harshly, and it threw her off balance. She snapped back, "Don't push your luck." Xia Yan kept walking toward the door, tossing another jab over his shoulder. Oh dear, someone's face just fell to the floor. Better pick it up before someone steps on it. Xia Yan, where are you going? Get back here! Xia Yan replied coolly. Going to sell my house. He even held up the property ownership certificate for her to see. Yalan was hit with shock after shock. What? Sell the house? Isn't that your only home? You once said you'd use it as our wedding house. Hands casually tucked into his pockets, Xia Yan replied with a calm excuse. I'm short on cash now, so I have to sell it cheap. What's wrong? You want to buy it? Yalan was fuming inside, her thoughts racing. What the hell is wrong with him? Suddenly acting cold, and now selling his house? That place was left to him by his parents, in a prime location, easily worth at least 3 million on the market. If it weren't for that house, why would I have dated him in the first place? Putting on a sweet smile, Yalan probed, So, how much do you want to sell it for? Xia Yan stroked his chin and answered right away, 1 million, firm price. She couldn't believe it. Selling that house for so little? Yalan began to suspect Xia Yan had gotten into serious trouble and was selling to pay off debts. Seeing her trailing after him, Xia Yan asked in a relaxed tone, So, do you want to buy it or not? If you don't, I'll just go through an agent. A bargain like this. I wouldn't mind keeping it for myself if I could, she quickly blurted out, almost in a rush. Of course I want it. It's just, I don't have the full amount right now. Could I give you 300,000 first, and then pay the rest little by little? Xia Yan pulled his hand back before she could touch him, his tone firm. Who told you this was an installment deal? You think I treat money like trash? It has to be 1 million in full, cash, not a single cent less. Yalan thought to herself that Shijun would be bringing people to deal with Xia Yan soon enough. Either way, Xia Yan was as good as finished. Even if she gave him 1 million, he'd have to spit it back out. The most important thing now was to trick him into completing the property transfer first. With that in mind, she agreed right away. Fine, 1 million it is. Let's head to the Central Real Estate Transaction Office right now. She then made a call to inform her mother, Mom, don't worry, I'm just buying a house, I'm picking up a huge bargain. The money will come back. Her mother, who also looked down on Xia Yan, scoffed. So tell me, you fell for that broke guy Xia Yan, and now you're even spending our family's savings to buy his house. That's our entire property, you know. Yalan curled her lips in a sly smile and reassured her. Just transfer me the money first, and I'll call you back. It won't be long before he disappears for good. Right after she hung up, Xia Yan turned back and asked, Done yet? I'll only sign once I see the full cash amount, she replied sweetly. It's ready. I'll transfer it to you now. But inside, she was secretly gloating. I just hope you won't live long enough to spend it. A notification chimed on his phone. Xia Yan had received the full 1 million. Only he knew that when the apocalypse came, houses would instantly become worthless. And if they lost this million now, they'd miss their last chance at survival. Still wearing that fake, honey-sweet smile, Yalan said, Haha, I'm so happy. Xia Yan, come on, let's go to your place. We need to celebrate. Yes. We do need to celebrate properly, he replied. Meanwhile, elsewhere, 4 thugs under Shijun were on their way to find Xia Yan. I just checked. This afternoon Xia Yan brought Xia Yun home. Before he comes back, let's get there first and have a little deep interaction with his sister. At that moment, while Xia Yun was still busy preparing food, the pendant hanging around her neck suddenly lit up. Shijun boldly called out from outside, Xia Yun, open the door. It's your brother Shijun. Hearing a familiar name, Xia Yun didn't think much of it, and ran toward the door to take a peek. Brother Shijun? Why are you here? My brother's not home. Putting on a fake friendly act, Shijun replied, I know. He went out to buy hot pot ingredients and told me to come up first. Quick, open the door. It's scorching out here. Xia Yun almost believed him, but then remembered what her brother had told her before leaving. No matter who it is, don't open the door. She forced herself to stay calm, stepped back, and called out loudly, Well, Brother Shijun, maybe you should wait until my brother comes back. Losing patience, Shijun's voice turned aggressive. What? Xia Yun, are you guarding against me? I care about you a lot. Open the door and talk to Brother Shijun properly, now. Sensing something was wrong, Xia Yun's face showed clear panic. Meanwhile, Shijun's thugs, who had come along with him, were already pulling out tools to pry the door open. Don't worry, Brother Shijun, we've been on the streets together for so long. Opening the door is no big deal. Trying to distract while figuring out how to pry the door, Shijun asked Xia Yun, is the token your brother gave you still with you? The innocent girl replied honestly, my brother gave it to me. Good, that puts my mind at ease. As soon as he finished speaking, the whole group kicked the door open and rushed inside. They covered Xia Yun's mouth, held her arms and legs, immobilizing her. Shijun sneered as he warned, opening the door earlier would have made this so easy, huh? So this little girl is the antique my father wanted? Ha ha! Now Xia Yun and the token are both in my hands. Later, we'll make him kneel and apologize to the elder. Xia Yun tried to struggle and shouted, Brother Shijun, why? Aren't you supposed to be my brother's friend? At this moment, Shijun revealed his true nature, no different from a demon. Do you know why I got close to your brother? Because he's a complete fool who believes everything I say. I'm carrying many things that can't be exposed. If anyone finds out, I'd have to find someone to take the blame for free. And besides, if it weren't for Xia Yin, how would I have met Jilan? Ha ha, that girl's vibe is really not bad. Xia Yun refused to let him touch her face, screaming for him to let go. Shijun continued to aggressively approach the girl's face. Keep it down, Xiao Yun. If you scream again, I might have to stuff your mouth with a sock. The thugs around him cheered as if it were a game. Brother Shijun, you're amazing. Has this little girl grown up yet? It was clear they were planning something perverted. One of you can check for yourselves, there's still plenty of time. At that moment, they were all pulled into a surreal, dreamlike space. Ancestors, have you ever heard of the Pleasure Palace? From nowhere, a group of beautiful, sexy women appeared to serve each one individually, as if it were real. General, let us attend to you. Shijun was lost in the illusion, unwilling to wake. A fairyland. This is a fairyland. The women even enthusiastically fed him. My lord, let this humble servant feed you grilled meat. Shijun held each beauty by the waist, shivering. Beautiful, am I dreaming? There was something strange in the women's eyes, red and flickering like demons. But Shijun didn't notice. My lord, is the grilled meat delicious? Delicious. Truly delicious. Suddenly, the space turned icy cold, and the pool's water transformed into a sea of blood. Excellent. Indeed, a lord should taste his own flesh to know its true flavor. Everyone panicked. What is this? This is Heart's blood. Hearts. This isn't a pleasure palace. It's clearly hell. The woman now revealed her true demonic form. Does my lord find the menu unsatisfactory? The hearts of the young masters, the flesh of the elders, and the eyes of loyal subjects. My lord, which would you like to eat? It was still inside Xia Yan's house, but it seemed only people like Shijun were caught in such hallucinations. They clutched their heads, groaning in pain, seeing them suddenly thrash about and scream. Xia Yun panicked, flustered, unable to understand what was happening. The thugs looked up at the ceiling and shouted, Ghosts! There are ghosts! Shijun grimaced and barked, Damn it, what ghosts? Just tricks and illusions. We've all hurt people before, so what's there to be afraid of? Damn it! Could it be this strange token? If you've got the guts, come at me. It's nothing but a broken piece of junk, useless inside and out, just trash. Suddenly, a demonic hand shot out from the token and clawed straight across Shijun's face, making him scream in agony. The moment the token rolled across the floor was also the moment Xia Yan swaggered into the room. Oh, looks lively in here, he said coolly. Beside him was that girl Yalan. The instant she saw Shijun cowering in a corner, she rushed forward and asked anxiously, Shijun, what's wrong? Are you okay? But he only howled louder, pointing at the token. It's a monster. That token is some kind of treasure. Don't let him go. Catch him. Xia Yin didn't even move, letting them charge forward at will. From inside, Su Jie's tearful voice whispered a reminder. Warden, the soul power of the token is completely drained. It's all Lei Jinzi's fault. He just had to lash out with that claw. Otherwise, I could have kept controlling them a little longer. The bear also grumbled in annoyance. Humph. And I didn't even get my chance to go on stage. Xia Yan remained perfectly calm, completely unfazed. With your size, if you showed up, this whole building would probably collapse, wouldn't it? Small matters like this aren't even your turn to handle, just right. Let me test out my powers for myself. The moment Xia Yan unleashed his flames onto them, their entire bodies felt as if they were about to be incinerated, the heat unbearable beyond imagination. They scattered in panic, scrambling toward any source of water in hopes of dousing the fire. Some couldn't withstand it at all and collapsed lifelessly on the floor. Shijun, his face covered in blood, was utterly shaken. He realized Xia Yan had somehow gained sorcery. Yalan quickly tried to cover for him. Don't come any closer. Xia Yan, Shijun is your good brother. You must think of your past friendship. But Xia Yan had no intention of sparing anyone. Past friendship? You broke into my house, kidnapped my sister, stole my token, and this vicious woman Yalan joined in on the act. Just the thought of it makes me sick. And now you want me to remember our old ties? How self-righteous can you be? Shijun weakly lifted his head, feigning innocence. Xia Yan, I don't know what you're talking about. It's all just a misunderstanding, Yalan. Why don't you hurry up and talk some sense into Xia Yan? Weren't you his girlfriend? Aren't you two about to get married? I was even supposed to be the best man at the wedding. Yalan struck a coquettish pose, swaying her hips and chest. That's right, Xia Yan, didn't you want to marry me? I don't even need a bride price anymore. Aren't you happy? Even if you've lost everything, I'm still willing to marry you. Can you tell me why you suddenly have this kind of power? I'll love you forever. Just when it seemed Yalan's words might cloud Xia Yan's mind, Shijun snatched up a knife and lunged forward. Die! In an instant, Xia Yan engulfed both the treacherous woman and Shijun in searing flames. I once wondered why I awakened this power of fire. Now, I finally understand. Perhaps it's because this world is full of filth like you. That's why I believe all of it must be burned away. This was the ancestral hall of the Song family. Song Tian was burning incense and praying solemnly. Honored ancestors above, your descendant Song Tian humbly begs for your blessing. May our Song family prosper with favorable winds and rains, and may I rise step by step in rank. From the ancestral token on the altar, a strange and mysterious force emanated, whispering again and again about spiritual energy, antiques, the blood of maidens, sacrifices, sorcery, and descending power. These were the demands of Song Tian's ancestors. He bowed even lower and pledged, yes, yes, please do not be anxious, ancestors, everything else, your descendants will offer to you immediately. Then, the so-called ancestor gave a cryptic revelation about the future. Within 3 days, the end of the world shall come. Prepare swiftly. Song Tian froze, doubt creeping in. But when the meaning sank in, he turned utterly pale with terror. 3 days until the apocalypse? Could it be that the ancestor means? He shouted in panic, issuing orders. Quickly! Buy up as much food and water as possible. Hurry! If my guess is correct, the end of the world is truly near. Summon Shijun and his men at once. We must conduct the sacrifice immediately. Before he could act on his command, Xia Yan suddenly leapt into the hall. No need for all that trouble. I've come on my own. Not only did he barge in uninvited, but the young man also dragged along Song Tian's own son, his face covered in blood. Seeing his son lying motionless, Song Tian grew frantic, his voice trembling with rage and fear. You bastard! What have you done? How dare you storm into the ancestral hall of the Song family? Do you even know where you are? What are you standing around for? Kill him! At Song Tian's command, a mob of men rushed recklessly towards Xia Yan, yet the young man remained calm, striding forward without hesitation. In the blink of an eye, Xia Yan unleashed his power. Flames erupted, devouring his attackers one by one. In mere moments, they collapsed into smoking heaps, leaving only Song Tian standing there, stunned and pale, with eyes ablaze and fire dancing across his hands. Xia Yan smiled cheerfully. Uncle Song, greetings. Behind him, Song Tian's underlings rolled across the floor, wailing in agony as the heat scorched them. Chaos filled the hall, and in his desperation, Song Tian drew a pistol, leveling it shakily at Xia Yan. But the instant he pulled the trigger, Xia Yan snapped his fingers. The gun exploded with a deafening crack. damned thing blew apart on the spot. Song Tian screamed, his hands seared and bleeding, and he collapsed to his knees in unbearable pain. Xia Yan's expression turned playful, his grin sharp and mocking. You really shouldn't toy with explosives so carelessly, Uncle Song. Only Xia Yan knew the truth, though his awakened ability was merely at level 1. The nether flame was a power truly worthy of fear. At present, he could control roughly 10 gallons of fire in a single burst, with a radius of about 2 meters and a duration of 10 seconds, and if there were anything combustible nearby, the destruction multiplied. Broken and humiliated, Song Tian trembled on the ground. With no other choice, he crawled forward on his knees, raising his voice in a desperate prayer. Damn it! Accursed demon! Ancestors of the Song clan, our bloodline must not be severed. Please, manifest your divine power. At that moment, the so-called ancestral deity revealed himself and forcefully suppressed Xia Yan's power. A booming voice declared, I am the ancient fire star Lord Manhwa. Evil one. Kneel before me. Caught off guard, Xia Yan failed to defend himself and was injured. Meanwhile, the members of the Song family all returned to normal, no longer writhing in pain. Tian, brimming with pride, pointed arrogantly and shouted, Haha! The Star Lord has manifested. The true God dispels evil. Xia Yan, you will surely be torn to pieces. The Star Lord appeared, towering like a giant, his strength vast, tens of thousands of times greater than Xia Yan's. The young man lifted his gaze and sneered in defiance. I told you already. It seems the Song family has never truly fallen from grace. In this apocalyptic age, of course someone was bound to be pulling the strings. I only came here planning to snatch a few antiques for some quick money. Yet I ended up stumbling upon a far greater foe. Hearing this, the Fire Star Lord Manhwa let out a savage laugh. With a single stomp, he sent Xia Yan flying across the hall like a rag doll. Then, stretching down his massive hand, the Star Lord sought to crush him in an instant, but Xia Yan slipped away just in time. Song Tian, certain that the boy was doomed, froze in disbelief as he saw Xia Yan still standing only seconds later. Without hesitation, Xia Yan summoned the Great Bear, normally a lovesick creature, but one that could transform into a raging beast when battle demanded it. At that moment, Su Jie's voice echoed in Xia Yan's mind, delivering critical information. Dungeon Master. This Fire Star Lord is a primordial flame star spirit. For 1,000 years, he has drawn strength from the incense offerings of the Song clan, amassing a vast reservoir of spiritual power. He is only one step away from fully descending into the mortal realm. If you can capture and absorb him, both your soul force and your infernal flame ability will grow immensely. Hearing this, Xia Yan quickly realized that Su Jie already had a plan. The voice of the Warden spirit continued. At present, the soul force stored within the Great Ferocious command is insufficient. However, if the Dungeon Master dares to gamble, there may still be a chance at victory. You can channel your own soul force into the command and summon one of its imprisoned beasts to aid in slaying the god. Xia Yan couldn't help but chuckle with interest. I thought it would be something difficult, but soul force originates from the spirit itself. If I fail to capture the Fire Star Lord, and my soul is too damaged to recover, I'll vanish on the spot, won't I? In that case, the creature I summoned could escape the prison entirely. Correct? Su Jie, however, sounded utterly confident. Then the real question is, does the Dungeon Master dare to gamble or not? Xia Yan raised an eyebrow and snapped back. Why would I need to gamble at all? Before Su Jie could reply, Xia Yan suddenly drew out the command token, causing the Warden spirit to panic. What are you doing? With a cold grin, Xia Yan declared, I've already fused the Yuming flame into the token. If I perish, the Yuming flame will erupt and consume the command entirely. Without the command, no one on this earth will ever unlock the prison again. None of you will ever see the sunlight. So if you want me to survive, you know exactly what you must do. As he spoke, the young man began to pour his soul force into the token. A blinding light pierced through the void, shining down into the depths where the beasts were imprisoned. Xia Yan chose to summon the great demon that guarded Rakshasa Mountain of the southern seas, the Black Bear Star, to break free and join the battle. The prison gates trembled, and the massive bear emerged at last, fearing the beast might go berserk. Sujia quickly shouted a warning, "Hey Heizi! Do not cause chaos. The dungeon master will not fall." This was the very reason Heizi had appeared now, to confront the Fire Star Lord head-on. With a single collision, the mighty beast sent the Star General staggering backward. Roaring madly, Heizi shook the heavens, his excitement overflowing. "At last, I'm free! This is glorious! Let me leap and rampage as I please!" Heizi kept laughing maniacally like a deranged, hyperactive bear, rolling and roaring without pause, until Xia Yan landed a clean strike to his forehead. Only then did the beast snap back to his senses. Xia Yan, clearly exasperated, barked, "At a time like this, you still have the nerve to fool around with these ridiculous antics? Hurry up and fight properly. My soul force won't last much longer. Do you actually want me to die here?" But even in this life and death moment, the bear completely misunderstood, his face glowing with delight as though he had just been praised. I understand. Dungeon Master, I've always been loyal to you. Calling me out was the right choice. Ha ha ha. Thrilled beyond measure, Heizi immediately turned his fury upon the Fire Star Lord, tearing into him with claws and fangs, just a petty elemental god of the 5 phases. And you dare stand in the way of the mountain spirit? Hand over the Fire Star at once. The Star Lord tried to summon divine flames, but Heizi gave him no chance. With a thunderous slap across the face, the beast roared, "Summon, will you? Insolent old fool!" At this point, the Fire Star Lord could no longer fight back. Gritting his teeth, he muttered in defeat, "This deity's true body has reached its limit. I cannot unleash my full power. Better to retreat for now." But Xia Yan would never allow it. His cold voice rang out like a curse. "Trying to run? Have you not heard? Too late to regret, too late to escape, accursed immortal wretch!" In that instant, a chain of sorcery shot forth, coiling tightly around the Star Lord's body, binding him so completely he could no longer even struggle. At this point, Song Tian could only roll on the ground, desperately reaching out for his ancestral Fire Star Lord. Then, as his eyes fell upon the glowing chain binding the deity, a shock struck him. That rope. "It's the one from that gourd." Xia Yan's grin spread wide, brimming with arrogance as though he owned the heavens themselves. "Indeed, luckily, Uncle Song was so generous. By selling me just the gourd, I was able to claim this heavenly binding vine." Song Tian's face collapsed into utter despair. He broke down, wailing, "Ancestor! Ancestor, save us!" But it was already too late. The chain flared with light, and the Fire Star Lord dissolved into pure starlit flame. Xia Yan calmly extended his palm, catching the celestial ember as though it were his rightful prize. Then, with a sudden thought, he turned to the broken patriarch and spoke with chilling casualness. "How about we make a little transaction?" Song Tian, lost in grief, could only sob uncontrollably. Beside him, his son Song Jun still lay half dead, his voice trembling. "Father, did you really give him all our family's wealth? What will we do now?" Clutching his son tightly, Song Tian rasped back, "The apocalypse is upon us. What use is money? Survival is the only treasure worth keeping." He then turned sharply to address the rest of the Song clan, his eyes blazing with fanatical resolve. "This matter must never leave this room. Sell off the houses, auction them if you must, convert every last asset into cash, then buy rice and water. Do you remember the villa outside the city? Beneath it lies a shelter. Reinforce it, arm it. As for Huang Lao, summon him, acquire more relics. Xia Yan is only one man, but with the end times upon us, he has awakened an ability. If our Song clan seizes this chance, then the apocalypse will not be our doom. It will be our fortune." His teeth ground together, his eyes bloodshot with hatred as he spat his vow. "Xia Yan, I will see you punished." Meanwhile, on another street, Xia Yan stood before a grand apothecary. His bank balance hovered around 3 million. As he stepped inside, a thought flickered in his mind. If time weren't so tight, I could have squeezed more out of the Song clan. Forget it. For now, efficiency comes first. Without hesitation, he addressed the shopkeeper. "I want 1 ton of Shangqing pills." The shopkeeper, still running on autopilot, answered with perfect politeness, "Yes, sir, right away." But then the words sank in, and she nearly choked on air. Wait. How much? A ton? Surely you're mistaken? Shangqing pill is just a common detox remedy. Xia Yan, not in the mood for explanations, cut her short. Do you have it or not? If not, I'll take my money elsewhere, the shopkeeper faltered, her mind trying and failing to process this lunacy. Sir, of course. Of course we sell them, but such a quantity, we need to call in stock from the suppliers. That would take 2 days, at least, and the price is. Well, it won't be cheap. Xia Yan's voice came out sharp and absolute. I'll pay 20% above market, but I want the shipment delivered by tomorrow night. That was all it took. The shopkeeper snapped out of her daze and sealed the deal on the spot. Over the next day, Xia Yan swept clean every last batch of Shangqing pills across the city, 10 tons in total, and placed massive online orders to boot. It should be enough. Who would have thought that, in the coming apocalypse, the most vital resource would not be weapons or gold, but an obscure little pill nobody had ever bothered to stockpile? Remembering his previous life, before his rebirth, he and his younger sister had struggled in agony because they did not have the Shangqing Dan. His sister had even attempted to steal it from others, but failed. This medicine could accelerate the awakening of supernatural powers while also suppressing the transformation into a zombie. Back then, Xia Yun had deeply regretted not storing it in advance. Forcing her brother to suffer so much, she had even risked her life to run outside in search of pharmacies farther away. At that critical moment, when his sister was about to face danger, Xia Yan couldn't stop her in time. In the end, she was captured and never returned. Now, even as he was reunited with her once again, the memory haunted him, and he was determined not to let such a tragedy happen again. The young man quietly entered the room, gazing at Xia Yun, who was fast asleep, and gently stroked her hair. Don't worry, he whispered. I will protect you no matter what. As for the Song Jia, they only know that the apocalypse is coming and will hoard large amounts of food, but they don't realize that, in the early stage of the end times, the most important resource is not food, but awakened ability users. To possess the Shangqing Dan is to command an army of supernatural warriors at one's will. He then pulled something out of his pocket and ignited it with the Yu Ming Huiyan. Instantly, it transformed into a radiant pink lotus, glowing brilliantly. Su Jia clapped excitedly and cheered. Congratulations, Prison Lord! The Yu Ming Huiyan has been refined and evolved into the Huolian Huazi. It can break formations and destroy spells. Even my illusory forest of wine and meat will pose no obstacle to you. Your ability has also advanced to level 2, and your control over the shapes of fire has become far more precise. Xia Yan looked very satisfied. Very good, the Huijing is even more useful than I thought. But Hei Haizi once again started showing off, making Xia Yan feel nauseated. Prison Lord, next time you summon, remember to summon old Hei. Hee. Besides, my sins have already been reduced to 90. That means, every time I eat prison meals, I can get an extra piece of meat. Su Jie, frowning, quickly explained on the side. Helping the prison lord complete missions also reduces one's sins, which leads to better treatment inside the prison. Not to mention, you secretly absorbed quite a bit of spiritual energy from Huada, didn't you? A job this good, prison lord. This servant also wants to be summoned. Xia Yan had a headache from the constant buzzing in his ears. He shoved both of them away in annoyance. Only Lei Jinzi remained determined not to submit. You gate dogs, tamed by a few petty benefits, shut your mouths. Boy, you had better not summon me, because I will stand coldly on the sidelines and wait for my chance to escape. Xia Yan only sneered at his words. Haha, Lei Jinzi, as my strength increases, more and more prison doors will be opened. If there are spirit beasts stronger than you, why would I need to summon you? Perhaps by then, it will be you who comes begging me instead. After saying that, he left. Upon returning, holding the command token in his hand, the young man kept glancing up at the moon, which was undergoing strange changes. Tomorrow would be the second to last day before the apocalypse. He was determined to make full use of the remaining time. In his possession now was more than 20 million, which should be enough to buy what he needed. The next day, Xia Yan went to the jewelry exhibition and finally found it. In the apocalypse, ordinary resources could be plundered, but the energy cores needed to advance abilities could only be obtained by killing zombies. Inside this stone was a vast number of ability crystals, enough for someone at level 2, like him, to advance to level 3. In his previous life, there had been one lucky individual who had managed to obtain this stone, surpassing everyone from the very beginning and reaping countless benefits as a result. This time, Xia Yan was determined to seize it for himself. He immediately appeared at the auction hall. After the jade spring jewelry set was sold for 1.3 million, the item Xia Yan had his eyes on was finally brought out. Now, everyone can see that this stone has tremendous potential. According to our detection equipment, it could yield jade worth at least 5 million. The starting price is 3 million. Whoever bids higher will obtain it. The bidding quickly began. One person called out 3.5 million, another shouted 3.8 million, and someone else raised it to 4 million. A young man, known as Brother Hao, boldly bid 5 million. The crowd gasped in admiration. To think Brother Hao would go straight to the highest estimate. Well then, since Brother Hao has made his move, we won't fight over it. After all, the prestige of the Yihao Corporation must be upheld. Brother Hao lifted his wine glass proudly and laughed. Haha, thank you all. Next time, drinks will be on me. At that exact moment, Xia Yan swaggered in, his voice powerful as he declared a price no one dared to match. I bid 6 million. Everyone turned their heads in shock, staring at him in confusion. He looked like a mere student. How could he possibly have that kind of money? Judging from Xia Yan's modest appearance, one of the auction staff even hurried over, speaking tactfully. Sir, participation here is restricted to members only. You need a black card to bid. This isn't a joke, as you can see. Xia Yan immediately pulled out a card that radiated prestige and asked back coldly, Any other problems? At that point, the staff member could only bow respectfully instead of stopping him. No, none at all, please, right this way. But inwardly, the staff was still shaken. This was a black card loaded with tens of millions in cash. Clearly, Xia Yan must be the young master of some powerful clan. The female auctioneer raised her voice again. This young man has offered 6 million. Does anyone wish to bid higher? Brother Hao slammed his glass down and shouted, 7 million. Kid, give me some face, we'll still be seeing each other around in the future. But Xia Yan, resolute, did not hesitate. I bid 10 million. The entire hall fell into stunned silence. Many felt their scalps go numb. The bid had already surpassed the actual value of the stone. A woman sitting beside Brother Hao, trying to soothe his anger, whispered gently, Brother Hao, there's no need to be upset with him. He's just inflating the price himself. Let him be the fool. Brother Hao turned to ask, Kid, what's your name? The young man didn't hesitate and answered directly, Xia Yan. Brother Hao narrowed his eyes, his tone threatening. Very well, Xia Yan, I'll remember you. You've got guts. Immediately, the auction item was handed over to Xia Yan, the moment he grasped it. Strange arcs of lightning flickered within his eyes. Just as he was about to step out of the door, a loud cry echoed through the hall. There was a monster. Desperate shouts for help resounded one after another. From within the Jiujinqi Bao Jin Xiangyu Sui Fin Zhuyu Liuli fan, which had been placed on display, a demonic creature burst forth, lunging straight for the box in Xia Yan's hands. The young man quickly understood the situation. So, it was after this all along. Before the auction, the jade fan and this stone must have been placed near each other, allowing it to sense the energy within the crystal, and with the apocalypse drawing near, the evil spirit sealed within the fan has awakened. The world is about to fall into chaos. These strange incidents are merely the appetizers. At that moment, Brother Hao rushed past the creature, shouting loudly for Xia Yan to be careful. A shocking scene unfolded before everyone's eyes as Xia Yan spewed fire with one hand at the demon. Then, power radiated from his left eye. In just moments, he had subdued the creature. However, since the little demon's cultivation was not high, the gain was only a small amount of ability energy. At that instant, Brother Hao not only stopped competing but dropped to his knees, gazing at Xia Yan with admiration. Heavens! Xia Yan! He's a true expert. This old man wants to take him as my master. Scene shift. Downstairs, Xia Yan was bustling about with piles of goods. Everyone in the apartment building was stunned when they heard that all of these supplies had been purchased by Xia Yan himself. Some even thought he was planning to open a supermarket, In the eyes of many, Xia Yan seemed well liked. A young man standing nearby remarked, Xia Yan is really a good person, and he has such a gentle personality. He must be preparing to start a business. But an old superstitious woman scoffed mockingly, haha, youngsters these days don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Does he really think anything he does will succeed? Let's just wait and see if his little store survives. The jealousy in her tone was obvious. A young lady teased her, Auntie Zhang, didn't you once want to rent this warehouse to open your own supermarket? The woman denied furiously, a lousy location like this. I wouldn't even bother looking at it, let alone rent it. As for Xia Yan, he strode inside proudly, not sparing a thought for the gossip outside. Focusing only on his own matters, he mused silently. I've just spent the remaining money to stock up on some goods. Now, what else am I missing? One of the delivery staff carrying items asked politely. Mr. Xia, all the goods have been delivered. Would you like to check them over? Xia Yan fully trusted the people here, so he didn't bother to check the goods himself. Judging from the sheer amount of supplies piled up, he feared that when another truck arrived tomorrow, there wouldn't be enough space to store everything. He decided he would go directly to the main warehouse to pick up the goods himself. When Auntie Zhang overheard that Xia Yan would be receiving yet another shipment the next day, her teeth clenched in open frustration. Another truck tomorrow? Could it be that Xia Yan has really struck it rich? And why? He's just some orphan with no parents. Does he not even know how to show respect to his elders like me? So now he's opening a supermarket? That was clearly the spot I had my eyes on. I'm the one who deserves to get rich, not him. At that very moment, either her son or grandson needed to relieve himself, and he ran straight into Xia Yan's warehouse. Without hesitation, the boy urinated right into Xia Yan's crate of goods. Auntie Zhang had the gall to run over and praise him. Wow, Xiao Bao, you're amazing, you already know how to pee on your own. Then she turned mockingly to Xia Yan. Children don't know any better, surely you won't hold it against him, will you? Without another word, Xia Yan grabbed the brat by the collar and tossed him outside. Even though he hadn't finished peeing, the urine splattered all over Auntie Zhang, making her shriek in rage. Xia Yan, what do you think you're doing? The boy kicked and screamed in tears. But Xia Yan calmly reached for the door and said coldly, Get out. The door slammed shut with a loud bang, leaving only Auntie Zhang outside, her teeth gnashed like a vicious hag, while the brat at her side kept whining that he wanted to play with firecrackers and set them off. The moment the boy spoke, she immediately thought of a nasty trick to pull on Xia Yan. Xiao Bao, Grandma will buy you firecrackers right away. Tonight we'll set off a grand display. And if a spark just so happens to fly into Xia Yan's warehouse and cause a fire, well, that wouldn't be good at all, would it, Xia Yan? Meanwhile, inside, after firmly closing the door, Xia Yan looked over the piles of goods and saw that everything seemed complete. He activated a magical formation and began storing them away. Su Jie, seeing the sheer volume of supplies, became ecstatic. So many things. This is wonderful. At last, this old lady can finally enjoy life a little. Xia Yan calmly reminded her to find an empty prison cell and store everything inside. Su Jie, too delighted to think straight, instantly agreed. As you command, prison lord, leave it to me. She was so excited she almost went mad with glee. I'm great at organizing things. There are even plenty of live animals here. Why not set aside a plot of land next to the tower to raise them? With the spiritual energy inside the tower nourishing them, the meat will become even more delicious. When the time comes, there'll be endless chicken to eat, more than we could ever finish. As Xia Yan stepped out, he sighed to himself, the outside world is entering the apocalypse. Who knows how long it will last? I will preserve a large number of living creatures inside, at least as a spark of fire to keep the flame of human civilization alive. The bear voiced its opinion, saying that Xia Yan should focus on farming. During famine, the most important things were seeds and soil. As long as those two existed, all living beings could survive. Xia Yan began to think it through. Seeds, he had already bought plenty, but soil. That was the real problem. Deciding on the spot, the young man took flight toward the outskirts. He muttered while scanning the land, so much earth here. I wonder if the magic seal can hold it all. Forget it. Better to harvest first just in case. He began sweeping up massive amounts of soil. Su Jie, who had been standing still, suddenly saw endless earth getting sucked inside and panicked. Heavens above! This is way too much. We can't hold it. Prison Lord, your soul power isn't enough. If the space doesn't expand, it'll flood everything. Huh. Looking at the pile of soil he'd collected, the young man let out a long breath. All right, at least I gathered more than 20,000 gene. But it still doesn't feel like enough. After the apocalypse, everything, including land, will be corrupted. By tomorrow, patches of untainted earth like this will become impossible to find. He sat down and held something in his hand. No more time to waste. Closing his eyes, rays of light surged around him, and a lotus platform bloomed once again. Meanwhile, Auntie Zhang was still busy throwing money around to buy up a mountain of firecrackers, her eyes full of malice as she schemed against Xia Yin. Xia Yin, you bastard. I can't wait to see what your face looks like later. The brat picked up a strange mirror from somewhere and ran over, his face full of delight. What is it, Xiao Bao? Where did this mirror come from? Don't tell me you snatched it while we were buying firecrackers earlier? Ha ha ha, truly worthy of being my grandson, so clever. So young, and already knows how to give gifts to his grandma. Suddenly, a hand reached out from inside the mirror and brushed over the boy's head. He giggled foolishly. There's someone, Grandma. There's someone inside. Zhang's face stiffened as she bent closer. What do you mean, someone? The boy innocently replied, There's a person in the mirror. The instant she looked in, a grotesque demon face appeared, bearing razor-sharp fangs. Zhang screamed and fell backward in terror. A ghost. There's a ghost. Throw it away, quickly. But the boy's expression shifted, no longer naive, but twisted with malice. Grandma, don't you love looking into mirrors? Didn't you say Xiao Bao can do whatever he wants? Then why don't you take a look? Go on, look. Once again, the demonic face in the mirror pressed right up against her. Zhang froze, gasping in horror. Finally, a demon crawled out of the mirror and bit into her body. By then, Xiao Bao himself had already transformed into a fiend. Ha ha ha. This is so much fun. Grandma, let's keep playing. At that moment, Zhang also became possessed. Xiao Bao, come here. Grandma loves you. And just like that, the boy Xiao Bao was dragged straight into her body. Under the moonlight, the city lay cold and desolate, filled with drifting spirits. At the docks, in a warehouse, rumors spread that a heavy rain was about to fall. A young man was opening the storage when he received a report from a ship offshore. Oh no, something's wrong. The net pulled up a monstrous catch, its body oozing pus, its mouth lined with sharp fangs. Can this thing even be eaten? It must be the waste discharged by the company polluting the sea, mutating everything within it. The worker stepped inside after the shift had ended and called out to Lao Wu. Lao Wu, hand me the archive records. But something was clearly amiss. One of Lao Wu's hands suddenly began trembling, turning an ashen gray, his entire face following suit. Unaware of the situation, the worker stepped closer. Lao Wu, are you feeling sick? Do you want me to request leave for you? Suddenly, a group of men rushed in. We heard all the Shangqing Dan of Fatesei City is stored in this warehouse, isn't it? The worker quickly replied, these are all goods already purchased by the customers. The leader of the group gave a sharp order, clear everything out for me. The worker tried to stop them. What are you doing? Wait, stop right there. But with a single strike, the worker collapsed unconscious. Just as the man in charge was about to step inside, a hand suddenly lashed out, clawing his leg and leaving it drenched in blood. Lao Wu had fully turned into a jiangshi. It wasn't until the man in sunglasses swung a shovel straight into his skull that Lao Wu finally fell to the ground. After being bitten on the leg, the leader's face also began to twist, purple veins bulging across his skin. Leader, are you all right? Just clear the medicine for me. If anyone blocks you, act directly. At that moment, Xia Yen stepped in, his expression utterly calm. Directly what? You want to harm people? Everything here is mine, real gold, real silver, and you still want to rob me? The apocalypse hasn't even fully arrived, and you're already in such a hurry to die. The gasping leader struggled to stand. My friend, to be honest, all the goods at this dock are the property of my master. Your shipment hasn't left the port yet, so why not make things smooth? You can even set the price yourself. How about it? Xia Yan flatly refused, saying he had no intention of selling. Moreover, he issued a warning, "I'll give you 1 minute. If you don't get out, bear the consequences yourself." Glancing at a man writhing on the ground as his body began to change, Xia Yan calmly noted, "So, corpse transformation has already started?" From the back, several of the men shouted the order to attack and rushed in for close combat with Xia Yan. But he only cast a single glance over his shoulder, then in the next instant, he was gone. They spun around in confusion, only to see him already standing tall atop the stack of goods. The gang was left dumbfounded, eyes wide, mouths agape. After prying open one of the crates, Xia Yan sneered, "So, you just said all the goods at this entire dock belong to your master? Then these too." "Right." The leader glared back, his eyes now bloodshot. "What are you trying to do?" With his left eye glowing brightly, Xia Yan replied, "Learning from the enemy to create my own products, I guess I'll just have to follow your example and fight." An explosion rocked the warehouse a moment later. The outcome was obvious. Everyone knew what had happened. News of the incident was quickly reported back to the higher-ups. The one in charge was a glamorous woman, dressed provocatively in red. Her tone was filled with anger. "What? Not only did you fail to bring back the medicine, but all the other goods were stolen too." The group stammered out their explanation. "That man. He has supernatural powers. He's not human, but a monster," and after sealing the warehouse shut, he disappeared. When we finally managed to break the door open, everything inside was gone, completely empty. Hearing this, the woman's face froze in shock. "So that's what happened. Do you even know his name?" A man in sunglasses spoke up. "I checked the delivery records. His name is Xia Yan." The woman in red muttered to herself, her eyes narrowing. "So he's also a ninja, a gifted one. And it even seems he possesses spatial abilities. If I get the chance, I want to take it for myself." Meanwhile, the man before her had finally completed his transformation into a tangshur. His fingernails had elongated into claws, and he collapsed forward, his face twisted with bloodlust.